Well, she wowed us on the first show of the year last week, didn't she, with a no BS take on all the goings on in Canberra, and she's back to do it all over again tonight. Let's get into Word on the Street with Erin Molan. Right, she's joining us now from Sydney. Erin, everyone in the media has been obsessing over these text messages. Cabinet Minister, we're told, to the former Premier of New South Wales, Berejiklian, and then we saw this missive from Barnaby Joyce to Brittany Higgins. We know what the media thinks, but I'm interested, what do ordinary Australians think? What have you got for me?
Well, Peter, good evening to you. It's all very high school, but I'm almost reluctant to say that because it would probably be offensive to the millions of teenagers who might have handled it with more maturity than a lot of other people have, particularly the news that came out today. I said last week that I thought that these text message exchanges might actually end up benefiting the Prime Minister, and it sounds ridiculous given these are people in his own party that have had fairly scathing takes on his character, but people are fair dinkum. There's not one person with a mobile phone that hasn't sent something that might be venting or be a little bit offensive about their partner, their mother, a work colleague. Aussies are fair dinkum. They get how this stuff works. Take a listen.
People don't have to like each other to work together, and it happens, through life all the time.
You should have been honest and said to his face, not behind his back, and a text message. So, I mean, if you can't be upfront with him, well, he shouldn't be in the ministry or in the backbench, whoever it was.
It was not fair to do that to Scott Morrison.
I think he's doing an all right job. So he's got us through this pandemic with the other lady Gladys, so yeah.
I don't think it's been made, it's fair that it's been made public, but people are entitled to an opinion. Maybe he needs to step up and start doing what the Prime Minister should be doing and people stop talking smack.
I don't think it's fair at all. I think he's doing a fantastic job. As far as history goes in Australia, I think he's had the worst job, and I really praise Scott Morrison.
Yeah, so there you have it. I mean, I did a Pilates class this morning and sent my mum a text afterwards saying that my instructor is a complete psycho, which she is. It doesn't mean I don't respect her. She's completely psycho and it really hurt. But look, that's just how we talk to each other and about each other.
Oh, I'm laughing because I think that's the first time we've heard the word Pilates on this show. You're bringing a very human element. The interesting thing in all of this is, and I discussed it very briefly just then with Dennis Shanahan, who's been in the gallery for 3 decades. The hyperventilation of journalists that I wish would get into the nuts and bolts of what challenges this country faces for the next 10 years and what the parties are putting on the table in terms of policy. But that's not where they're gone. And of course, a former editor of The Australian, Chris Mitchell, who writes in The Australian every Monday, he's been brilliant about this today. He says the gallery's out there, they go soft on Albanese, they're going hard on the Prime Minister. Listening, even when people think in your voxies then that they aren't that happy that these text messages have been made public, there's still a lot of support with real people for Scott Morrison, isn't there?
Oh, there really is. And look, I think it's a very unfair assessment from Mitchell in The Australian. I mean, Scott Morrison would have been watching Anthony Albanese at the press club just a few days prior to his own appearance and thinking, my God, I hope I don't get a question, who are you? I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. The stark difference was just out of this world. Look, to some extent, you've got to accept that the Prime Minister is going to be asked tougher questions by the press. He's the person making the decisions. He's going to be held to account. But the Australian public deserve to know what Anthony Albanese stands for. And when he makes a promise, they deserve to have it scrutinised so we understand what we are in store for if Labor come into power at the election. The media have to do that. The ABC are clearly not going to do that, so it's up to everyone else. The other thing that's really frustrating me of late, Peter, I loved what you said at the start when you spoke about credit where credit's due. We seem to have this mentality at the moment in this country and in certain sections of the media and in the public as well, that everything that goes wrong, everything that is bad in the world is the government, the Prime Minister's fault. We're in the midst of a global pandemic. There is no rule book to this. Yes, hold people in Parliament to account for their decisions. Yes, they will make mistakes. Labor would have made mistakes as well. I just don't understand how everything is always someone's fault. Credit where credit's due. I remember watching Italy at the start of this, watching the US with morgues set up. We haven't done too badly. You'd watch Laura Tingle's question during the press club about the Prime Minister apologising and think that we'd monumentally, completely screwed up and we were the worst country in the world. It's not the case. I'm no cheerleader for the Prime Minister, but credit where credit is due. We haven't come out of this too badly.
Spot on, Erin. I know you were also talking to them about another big issue over the weekend, which was the Queen marking her Platinum Jubilee. That's 70 years on the throne. Ultimate class act. I wish I was that good at 73 or 74, not 94 as she is. I mean, I think she's extraordinary. One of the big stories to come out of it, of course, was a statement by Her Majesty. And in that statement, she made it known, her wish, that when Charles becomes King, Camilla will become the Queen Consort. What do you make of all of that?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think the last time I really cared about the royal family was when I was 13 and wanted to marry Prince William. So I haven't taken a whole hell of a lot of notice since, but people do seem to care a fair bit about this. I guess the whole crux of it is, you know, you look at Camilla and she wasn't particularly liked early on, but if you just hang around long enough, then the tide is sure to turn, and that's what our people seem to think.
He's chosen to have her as his wife, so why not? It's the modern day world.
You know, you're marrying into royals, these are the type of things you get, I suppose.
I don't even want Charles and Camilla. I'd rather it just go straight to William. I think the way he treated Diana and all that, he doesn't deserve it. She was the other woman, and to make her queen, you know.
I don't agree with it. Not at all. I'm not a Charles fan either.
She needs to move aside. Kate's next.
Well, there you go. I was about to say you probably also haven't really spoken about the other woman on Sky News as well as Pilates, but then you probably have actually given politics over the past few years. But there you have it, Peter, all the big important issues.
I reckon if you hang around long enough, Harry might be on the market again. I can't see that lasting forever. So you never know. You never know. Erin Molan, brilliant as always.